Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm your brother Zahack Tanvir and you're watching Candid Talk. Today we'll talk about the ongoing Russia-Ukraine crisis briefly. So here are some of the fundamental things which you know about the history of this crisis. The whole thing goes back to 1991. Ukraine was part of Russia, and in 1991, Leonid Kravchuk, the leader of the Soviet of Ukraine, declared independence from Russia. Then Ukrainians elected him as their president. In 1994, Ukraine signed Budapest Agreement that they will remain non-nuclear nation, and in return, US and UK will provide security. Then in 2004, pro-Russian politician Viktor Yanukovych became president, but due to the allegations of vote rigging, Orange Revolution took place and then re-election happened. Pro-Western Viktor Yushchenko became president. And in 2005, Viktor Yushchenko promised to keep Russian influence away from Ukraine and planned to join NATO and European Union. Then in 2008, NATO promised Ukraine that one fine day Ukraine will be part of NATO. Then in 2010, the pro-Russian guy Viktor Yanukovych became president and made a deal with Russia to extend the lease for the Russian Navy in the Ukrainian Black Sea port. Then in 2013, Viktor Yanukovych cut off ties with the European Union and made deals with Russia, which triggered mass protests in Kyiv for a month, and these protests became violent. In February 2014, Parliament removed Viktor Yanukovych because of his actions, but within days, armed men seized Parliament in Crimea and raised Russian flag, and by March 16, Russia took over Crimea. In April 2014, pro-Russian separatists claimed Donbass and declared independence. The years passed by, then came 2019. Former comic actor Zelensky became president and promised to tackle the corruption. In Jan 2021, Zelensky requested Biden to let Ukraine join NATO. Then in Feb 2021, Zelensky sanctioned pro-Russian politician Viktor Medvedchuk. And by September 2021, Russia started gathering troops near Ukraine. So Ukraine fired Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 drone, which angered Russia. Then in December 2021, Biden threatened Putin about sanctions. On December 17, 2021, Putin demanded guarantee from NATO that military exercises in Eastern Europe and Ukraine will stop. On Jan 14, Ukrainian government websites were hacked and they were warned that be afraid and expect the worst. On Jan 24, NATO puts forces on standby, and by Jan 28, Putin said his security demands is not getting met. On Feb 2nd, US sent 3,000 extra troops to Romania and Poland. And on Feb 21, Putin said on TV that Ukraine is an integral part of Russian history. He signed agreements to recognize breakaway regions, Donetsk and Luhansk in eastern Ukraine, as independent and ordered the Russian troops to be there. And today, Putin authorized special military operations in eastern Ukraine and asks Ukrainian forces to lay down their arms in a televised address. Russian forces begin missile and artillery attacks against the Ukrainian forces, and they started striking the major cities. To some, Ukraine loves to join EU and become a part of NATO, which Russia sees as a security concern. Not talking about who supports who, Middle East countries like Saudi Arabia and UAE have no stake in this conflict. Speaking on behalf of the Gulf Cooperation Council on 24th Feb, Abdulaziz Al-Atiq, Saudi Arabia's deputy permanent representative to the UN, requested for de-escalation of tensions and said civilians should not pay the price. India, on the other hand, too, doesn't take sides in this conflict, but some political analysts and some independent analysts suggest that India should support Ukraine. Israel and Turkey strongly support Ukraine and are opposing Russia. Biden and Western countries can't go beyond threatening sanctions, while Trump said that if he were to be president, this would not have happened. And this is true. When Trump was president of the United States, he contained and he controlled a lot of wars and conflicts, and he stabilized different regions. Meanwhile, there are fears that China is using this opportunity to attack Taiwan, a former Chinese colony. Finally, where are Muslims in this conflict? Russian Muslims under Mufti Ravil Ganaddin support Putin, while Ukrainian Muslims under Mufti Said Ismailov support Ukraine against Putin. However, they don't declare each other as kafir and munafiq. So you can be a Muslim while standing by your own government and its national interest. You know what I mean? Anyways, a lot of people on social media are praying for the de-escalation of this conflict, as it may lead to another world war and huge losses of human lives will occur. So let's pray the same and wish for an end of this devastating conflict. I'm your brother Zahack Tanvir, and you're watching Candid Talk.